This said player that we're going to talk about in tonight's video is by far, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, the most intriguing player in this year's NFL draft. You want to know why everybody's so high on this guy? For that reason alone right there. They don't make too many quarterbacks 6'5", 235. With the NFL and college football seasons unfortunately coming to an end, we are now to the point where we got to talk about the NFL draft. I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself, and I would say one of, if not my favorite part about the NFL draft is the entire debate and drama that goes on with the quarterbacks. And it's really starting to feel like deja vu at this point, because it seems like every single year there's always one mysterious quarterback in the draft. There's always that one set guy that people are really high on, or they don't like him whatsoever. And yet again, in this year's NFL draft, we have another quarterback who has everyone polarized. If you don't want to take my word for it, check this out. Some NFL teams have given him a first-round grade, while others have given him a fourth-round grade. It's insane, it really is. I can't remember the last time a quarterback prospect has been this polarizing. And we talked about this a week or two ago. There was one guy who stated he should be in conversation for the first overall pick. Why is that important? Because other people are stating that he's going to be worse than Jamarcus Russell. Me, myself, I find this such a fascinating situation because, weirdly enough, I've kept up with this guy since day one. I've not only watched every single one of his games, I've rewatched them multiple times. And you want to know something that is funny but also true? I can give you a legit case and argument as to why he should be the first overall pick, but I can also give you a legit case and argument as to why he should be a 5th round pick. This said player that we're going to talk about in tonight's video is by far, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, the most intriguing player in this year's NFL draft. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We ain't got time for intro, none of that. You know how it goes. If you like football content, consider joining our amazing community. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, before we get into anything, on one of the recent videos, Joseph super chatted $10. And on his comment, he said, best sports YouTuber, period. Thank you for those nice words. And also, I appreciate the super chat, but it is completely unnecessary. Joseph, once again, I appreciate that. And I also appreciate those kind of words. But trust me when I say this, not just to Joseph, but everybody watching the videos. Watching the videos alone, it's enough support. So I do want to bring that up. I'm just extremely grateful for you guys and the community we've built. Now, getting on track here with the player we got to talk about in today's video, I'm sure you know who it is. We got to talk about Mr. Anthony Richardson. For those of you that don't know anything about this guy, he was a quarterback for Florida. You know what? I might as well show you guys his stats because I think you guys like when I show you that and it gives you a good perspective. In 2021, didn't play a lot, completed about 60% of his passes, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not too great. Fast forward in time into 2022, he only completed about 54% of his passes. Threw for around 2,500 yards, had 17 touchdowns, but also 9 interceptions. It is key to note, and it's worth mentioning, he had 400 yards rushing in 2021 and 650 yards rushing in 2022. When you think of a modern day, big, strong, dual athlete type of quarterback, look no farther than Anthony Richardson. And part of the reason all these NFL scouts are really high on him is because this guy is built. When I say he's built, that might even be an understatement. He's 6'5", 235 pounds. You want to know why everybody's so high on this guy? For that reason alone right there. They don't make too many quarterbacks 6'5", 235. To go along with that, another reason all these scouts are really high on him is because his arm talent through the roof. He has a straight up rocket launcher for an arm. The only problem with that right now at this current moment, he can fix this and work on it, is the accuracy. I wouldn't even say he's a good quarterback when it comes to accuracy. He's a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. He's average or below average. Now, with all that great stuff being said, here's where things start to really, and I mean really, start to get interesting. I've told you the great things about him. Big, strong, super athletic. He's really a freak of nature, and he's got a rocket launcher for an arm. The problem with that, though, is Anthony Richardson is only a great prospect. Is he right now, as the one I'm speaking, a great quarterback? Is he ready to go? Probably not. I'll give you an example. When it comes to prospects, quarterback prospects, Anthony Richardson might be number 1. He is the best prospect in this draft in my humble opinion. Now, I know what a bunch of you are saying. Matt, what in the crap are you talking about? What about Bryce Young? What about CJ Stroud? My friend, calm down. I didn't forget about him. But key word is I said prospect. In my opinion, CJ Stroud isn't a great prospect. He's a great quarterback already. Same thing for Bryce Young. Bryce Young isn't a great prospect by any of the stretch of the imagination. He's already a great player. You got to understand, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young aren't going to get too much better. They're already really, really good. Am I saying they could dominate the NFL at this current moment? No, but I want you to understand is their games are really polished. On the flip side of it with Anthony Richardson, not so much. That is why most people are labeling him as a prospect, similar to the MLB. That's why there's this entire farm system in the MLB, because they draft guys number 1, number 2, number 3 just because of their potential. You could see that exact same scenario happen here because a lot of teams, they think Anthony Richardson, his potential is really high, which I do agree with 100%. And I think what has helped out Anthony Richardson up to this point is how successful Jalen Hurts has been. Y'all remember Jalen Hurts when he played at Bama and even at Oklahoma? He wasn't that great of a passer. However, the one thing Jalen Hurts had is he had size. He was built. And when I say built, I don't mean he was 6'7". I mean he wasn't skinny like Bryce Young. The thing with NFL quarterbacks, you don't want some skinny guy running the show. You want a guy that can be a little build, that can take some hits. When you take a look at Anthony Richardson, he is nothing less than Cam Newton when it comes to size. I mean, this guy's straight up huge. The only reason he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick is because of his arm. The only reason he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick is because of his decision making. But here's the good thing about that. He can work on those things. If you're Bryce Young, you can't work on being taller. You just simply can't. Anthony Richardson is huge, and I'm sure you've heard this, you can't coach size. Would you rather have a 6'8" point guard that can do it all, or a 5'9" point guard that can do it all? Exactly. If they can do the same things, why wouldn't you take the 6'8" guy? I think you get my point on that. Now, recently, I've seen all these videos circling where everybody and all these news outlets, they're hyping him up as much as anybody else. For example, this account's tweeted out multiple times about how Anthony Richardson is dropping nukes and just all this stuff and yada yada yada. You know how it goes. They're hyping him up, and it seems like this is going to be the media quarterback of the draft where everybody's going to hype him up. And a lot of people in the comments were saying stuff like this. People need to stop being impressed with private workout throws. When it comes to quarterback play, you have to watch game film. I don't know if he's going to be good or not, but this throw ain't going to persuade me either way, and I do agree. Do I myself, when I see a guy throw a bomb when there's no pads, no competition, no anything out there, do I get excited? No, I don't care whatsoever. It's the same thing as hitting a free throw in your backyard. It doesn't matter. But, and I have a big but, however, if you watch this young man play this year, you know when he is on his game, and I mean really on his game, he's looking like a first overall pick. The thing about Anthony Richardson is I could easily see him turning into a Patrick Mahomes. I could easily see him turning into a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback. And I'll tell you this much, a lot of people don't even remember this, but Jalen Hurts was a terrible prospect heading into the draft. The film that we had on him when he was at Alabama and Oklahoma, it was not good. Yes, he made some easy throws here and there, but when he needed to fit the ball into windows, he was not a good quarterback at the college level. And for that reason alone, that's why I respect Jalen Hurts so much, because the progress he has made with his arm, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, well, if Alabama, y'all loved him so much, why did you start Tua over him? Y'all don't understand. You obviously didn't watch the games. Jalen Hurts was bad at passing. When I say he's bad, I'm not just trying to overhype it. I mean it. He was terrible at times. And ironically enough, I stumbled across this tweet earlier today. Somebody said Jalen Hurts was arguably a worse prospect than Anthony Richardson is. And yes, that's what I'm saying. Jalen Hurts was a worse prospect than Anthony Richardson. The only great part about his game is, 1, he's a great leader, and 2, he had great legs. When you brought up the name Jalen Hurts at the college football level, you didn't bring up his arm. Yes, he checked out the intangibles. He's a hard worker, but he was not a great prospect. Don't get it mixed up. And also, here's another fun fact for you. Richardson has only started 13 games. If he's selected in the first round, that would be the least amount of games started by a college quarterback selected in the first round since 2000. That's another reason to me as to why it's so insane, because we don't have a lot of game film on him. He has started 13 college football games, and he might, more than likely, will be a first-round pick. And heck, man, if you've been keeping up with Florida and college football in the SEC, I remember before he even started a game when Dan Mullen was the head coach at Florida, people was trying to tell me he was going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Do y'all remember that before that Georgia game where he got hyped up, he started, didn't play so well? That's where everything really started. And I also can't get over the fact that some people think he could easily be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, but there's also teams that have him as a 4th round pick. There's no in-betweens. You're either really high on this kid or you think he's going to be Jamarcus Russell 2.0. Me personally, if I had a top 15 pick in this up-and-coming NFL draft, would I draft him? No. But, and I have another big but, if I had a pick late in the first round, I would probably, no. I probably would scoop him up. And maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but here's how I'm looking at it. If Jalen Hurts, one of the worst passing quarterbacks I've ever seen, can fix his passing in 2 or 3 years, Why couldn't this kid? And another reason I wouldn't mind taking him as a late first round pick or a second round pick is because I've heard he's a good kid. There's no problems. So this isn't some controversial thing where he's a bad kid off the field. From everything I've heard, he works really hard. And that's one thing I always like, hard workers. I don't care if it's football, but in my everyday life. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down below. But roll a minute.